You're listening to Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.
Daganan kilo bejanin kom lo moham. Di bejamaso sanalom. Muasa benge kaputo.
State Affairs.
State Affairs with Edmund Obilo.
Let me take you back to your book. You cited Lord Lugart's work, Dual Mandate in Tropical Africa, not once, not twice. And in citing Lugard, you mentioned Dr. Stoddard and Meredith Townsend, authors cited by Lugard. And they said none of the black race, for instance, whether Negro or Australasian, has shown within historic time the capacity to develop civilization. Has Nigeria shown the potential to develop civilization over the years?
If you go back, I don't know how old you are, but if you go back to the period between 1950, 53, 54 to 1960, you remember that we had three regions: the East, the North, and the West. Each of them was going at its own pace. The West was leading in every aspect. So, as a result of the education and advancement of the West was ahead, doing very well. East was again doing very well. Well, for the standard of the North, too, they were doing according to their beat. But you can't compare the standard of development in the North and the West, incomparable, because the West was so far ahead in education, in healthcare delivery, in agriculture. The other day, I was invited to Awolowo University. Some people were being honored, and I entered Oduduwa Hall. Then I marveled. I said, "This is Oduduwa Hall. Who put this? Who put this up? How? As if I didn't know how the thing came about. That came from Akoko, the sort of attention the Action Group government gave to the farmers. Because of that, we were able to make enough money to make Ife what it is today. I mean, Oduduwa Hall is one of them. And of course, you know of various important buildings in Lagos and Ibadan, built up by Action Group government of that time. Then, of course, the free education thing. Then, if you know the trajectory of this country, you know that when soldiers seized power, there was nothing the northern leader did not do to make sure that to succeed in Ronsi should be a northerner. But the person they put for was Gawan, who was junior. He had seniors. In the army, Ogundipe, even Ojukwu, even Adebayo, they were senior to him. But the North said, no, it should be a northerner and should be Gawan. They were arguing that from morning till the following morning. Then Ojukwu went to the air and said, what a country is this? For 24 hours, no head of state, nothing, no announcement. It was after that they announced the advent of Gawan. From that moment on, the North started to make sure that all the services in the country were taken over by the central government. The one that pains me so much is education.
And you look at the 1975 takeover in your book.
Yes.
My guest is the elder statesman Sir Olaniwun Ajayi, called to the English bar in Lincoln in 1962. From your two books that I have read critically, you blamed the action of Britain that gave power to the North for the troubles with Nigeria. You blamed the Northern oligarchy for the trouble with Nigeria. Why not blame the West and the East for allowing the dominance of the North on the power system here?
You can only do that if you have the means of doing that. Neither the East nor the West has been in control. The West and the East are not in control. It is the North that's been in the control, either during the military era or civilian era. For the military, about 30, 35 years, they were in power. And military in power, most of them, they are Northerners. You can read that in my book. And what is more, as I said, we have been independent now for 56 years. At that time, the countries which are more or less at the same development level as we were Brazil, India, Russia, and one or two other countries. Malaysia. Well, all these countries are ahead of Nigeria. As a matter of fact, Singapore is now a fourth world country, having the best airport in the world. What is the population of Singapore? When Singapore was driven out of the assembly by Malaysian people in their parliament, Lee Kuan Yew went out and started to cry that we will be sent out of this place. What are we going to do? How are we going to make it? Then, of course, he called his people. What are we going to do? He made sure that he called people, intellectuals in the country to manage the country. And so they are where they are today by sheer merit and commitment to the cause of their country. We are not.
But why put the blame solely on the political structure that empowers the North over the rest of the country?
But because they are not playing the role of a leader. They are not. And in any case, the situation in Singapore, which I mentioned, is quite different from us. The situation in France is quite different from us. The situation in Italy, quite different from us. The situation in Yugoslavia is the same as Nigeria. Yugoslavia has about 6 or 8 different nationalities, just as Nigeria has. And Yugoslavian people have been clamoring for self-determination, each nation in Yugoslavia. And their leaders have said, no, the more the merrier, let us all go together. over the years, centuries.
But
The last of
Bronze
them,
Tito was able to keep them.
listen to me. The last of them was Joseph Tito. Joseph Tito was an army man, a general. He said, my people, I'm sorry, I can't allow us to give self-determination to each of these nationalities. We should go together. In any case, he died. When he died, then the people got together, they held a meeting, 1, 2, 3, they all failed. In any case, what did you get? Because they were not allowed to go their separate ways. What did you get? Since 1989, they started to kill one another, and they killed one another for 10 years. The last of their leaders was arrested about 3 or 4 years ago. That was the last one. He's now undergoing trial in Hague. So that is the sort of thing we are trying to avoid. Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria consists of so many nations, leading nations. The sea geopolitical zone, let them go in their separate way. You will see marvelously rapid development.
In your book,
Yes.
you mentioned the wars in the north while describing pre-colonial Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo nations. While you described the Yoruba nation, you did not mention the wars that were fought here, but you dwelt a lot on the war fought by the Hausa Fulanis. What were you trying to portray?
The war fought by how?
The jihad.
Well, they were coming from the Arab country, the Fulanis particularly. They came to this place. They met the Hausas, who are more in number than they. In any case, they may go together. But they were not, they were not favorably disposed to the British.
Yes, you talked about the war, but you didn't talk about the wars that were also fought in Yorubaland.
Oh, that is quite, that really is not material. It's not material in the sense that it is this country, the Yoruba country, where you had a lot of war in 19th century. But it is they who give you the best government in this country.
Because some might even think that Sir Olaniwun was trying to portray the North as too militarist in nature by describing their war habits without mentioning Yoruba war habits. Even when you gave a lot of pages to Yoruba history.
No. Although war has nothing with development. With the wars, international war fought in Yorubaland, with all that, they still are what they were, what they gave you around independence time. The best education, the best in health, the best in agriculture. You know this, so it's not a question of that. It's a question of educational development. Because as far back as 1875, the Yoruba people have been producing graduates. The first lawyer came in 1875. Then, along the line, engineers, doctors, surveyors, and so on and so forth, in the 70s. In the first graduate in the North, the first lawyer in the North was 1955, and a lorry man. So you see the difference.
Can I say you took the North to the cleaners in your books?
Not unfairly. Look, whatever I wrote in my books, any of the books, whatever I wrote, is a result of thorough research, particularly the last book, The Power Imbalance. Very, very well researched. The most of what I put there, I got from the record of the British, which secret records, which they classified and turned into books. It was from these books that I got what I put there.
Where did you get the story that the Sultan of Sokoto on 19th May 1993 sent a message to IBB not to allow MKO contest the 1993 election?
My source is June 12, Nigerian June 12. It's a book written by a political man serving Babangida. Omorui. His book. It's quoted. My source is quoted in my book. There's nothing I wrote in my book which is unfounded.
And you believed Omorui?
Of course. The Sultan of Sokoto didn't come out to say, Omorui, you lie against me. Neither did Major, who became Prime Minister of England, neither did he come out to say, oh, Omorui, you lied against me, that it isn't true that I brought a letter. I mean, the British High Commissioner didn't say, you lie against my Prime Minister. The Commissioner didn't say, he didn't get a letter from the Major supporting the North against Abiola.
And in your book, you gave the impression that the North knew what happened to Abiola.
Well, if the North did not know, who would know? Abiola was in their hands. Abiola was in their keep. Who would know if they didn't know? Of course, they knew. And it was because they knew and realized what they did that they took Obasanjo out of prison, got him pardoned, and asked him to go and run election.
Has the North reacted to your books?
Who?
The North.
Well, I've been expecting a reaction. Nobody has reacted.
You wrote the first one.
Yes.
Nigeria's Africa's failed assets.
Yes.
You were hard on the North.
Certainly.
You came out with the second one.
Yes.
Nigeria political power imbalance.
Yes.
You were not friendly with the North.
In fact, let me tell you. The last book, Power Imbalance, I've sent copies to the President of the Senate, the Speaker of the House of Rep, to the President of the country, and to 6 natural rulers in each of the 6 geopolitical zones in the country.
And none of them has written
I've sent a copy to Cameron, the Prime Minister. I've sent a copy to the Speaker of House of Commons. I sent a copy to the leader of House of Lords in England.
Did you send any to the Sultan?
To whom?
To the Sultan?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And you have not been replied?
I said 6 natural rulers in each of the 6 geopolitical zones in the country. Of course, I sent to some religious leaders. I sent to the journalists, what do you call their group?
NUJ?
Yes, I sent 12 copies to them.
And no one is replying, Sir Olaniwun?
Nobody has said, look, I'm going to take you up on your book, you lie. Nobody.
Do you think the North is ready for a restructured Nigeria?
Well, I will prayerfully hope so, because it is the only blessing that Nigeria may have. But I know they will feel a bit tardy in doing so because they profit a great deal about the structure, the present structure of the country, which is absolutely contrary to political geometry, completely. We are different nationalities, different countries. We don't have proper federal system. We should have true federal system. If you have true federal system, there will be peace and progress in this country. We have been sovereign for 56 years, and we are like a small child. of 3 or 5 years who cannot walk. If you compare us with Brazil and Malaya and Singapore and Russia and India, where are we?
You said Britain broke all the virtues, ethics, and moral standards.
Yes.
Do you still see Britain that way?
Of course, yes.
You've not changed your perception.
No cause to do so.
You still see them as collaborators in the mess
Up
Nigeria is?
Up to now, let them come to tell me that they don't have a think tank stationed in either Oxford or Cambridge. Come out and tell me so. Or that the North has no think tank in America working for them up to now.
So what is stopping the Southwest from having its own think tank working for it?
Look, the West will always incline itself to where power is. Power is not here. Power is in the North.
Always in the North.
It has been in the North since independence.
And now the West is still tagging along.
Unfortunately.
Awolowo refused to tag along.
Well, what happened to him?
He paid for it, right?
He paid for it.
Dearly?
Yes.
Abiola
did. Abiola did.
Will anybody pay again?
I don't know. With a person like me, I will continue the way I have been doing, telling the world what happened to this country, why this country is like a little child of 5 years who cannot walk.
Sir Olaniwun Ajayi is author of the book Nigeria Political Power Imbalance. He also wrote the book Nigeria, Africa's Failed Assets.
Bush Radio.
Bush Radio. Bush Radio.
Bush Radio.
Your real talk radio.